A new study from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention finds that mask mandates were linked to decline in COVID-19 cases and deaths. The study also found that allowing restaurant dining was linked to increases in cases and deaths. The death growth rate was 1.9 percentage points less 81 to 100 days after a mask mandate, the study found, with smaller declines before then, starting as soon as 1 to 20 days afterward. Case growth rates declined up to 1.8 percentage points. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said Friday that the data serves as a warning about prematurely lifting these prevention measures. Experts largely say that there is soon coming a time when restrictions can be lifted because of widespread vaccinations, but the country is not quite there yet, and they are urging some restrictions to remain in place until a larger share of the country is vaccinated. That, to me, was a direct message to Mississippi and Texas, okay, for lifting the mandates, because that's absolutely ridiculous. I was also looking at the New York Times. They wrote an article that basically said, if you've been vaccinated, is it safe to not wear a mask? And the answer is no. They encourage you to continue to wear a mask. But in addition to that, which is really interesting, is there has been such a massive decline in the common cold and the flu. You know, several articles written on the CDC website, nature.com, Healthline, all say that the patchwork of responses intended to fight the pandemic, you know, lockdowns, mask wearing, social distancing, enhanced personal hygiene, and reduced travel, have had a huge impact on other common respiratory illnesses too, such as the common cold and the flu. Like when I was away for like a week and change a couple of weeks ago, I swore that I had COVID. Everyone told me that I had COVID. There was no way I just had the flu because it disappeared. And in fact, that's exactly what I'd ended up with. I was one of the very few people that ended up with just a flu, like a normal, regular flu, you know, after taking several COVID tests to make sure that I didn't have it.
Well, you know what? You think about it, I have to say to all our soulmates, why risk it? I mean, we've had the mask all this time. The vaccinations are here. And you made a great point, because that's one of the most asked questions. Like, okay, I got both my shots. Am I good? I don't have to wear a mask. Yes, you do. Because, look, you got to remember, Pfizer and Moderna is 95% effective. So there's a small chance that you could be a carrier maybe, or get it again. I'm not sure. So at the bottom line, why be safe than sorry? You have friends, you have family you're going to be around. So continue to wear that mask. I mean, it should be like just something common that we do now. It has to be for now.
No, go ahead. Yeah, just to your point, I don't understand why so many people are in such a rush to stop doing something that really doesn't create that much of a burden to begin with. It just doesn't.
Nope.
It's not that big of a deal at all. I wish we would be honest about that. Wearing masks, it is not that big of a deal. Dr. Fauci also kind of talked a little bit about the different mask mandates coming down everywhere. And he said something that I thought was interesting. He said, you know, the U.S. should not loosen COVID restrictions until daily new cases fall below 10,000, right? The last time we were at 10,000 was March 22nd, 2020. Right. We haven't even been below 50,000 since October. So we are in no way prepared to stop doing any of this.
That's true.
You know,
that's so true.
I agree. But back to Melissa's point really quickly, like Texas, they're going to be wearing their masks up until March 9th. March 10th is the cutoff in Texas. And so I don't understand. This is a prime example as to Texas, a place that is already open. You have indoor dining. Why would we want a place like Texas also not wearing a mask? I don't get it. Now, speaking of the ending of the mask wearing, the end of mask mandates in Texas and Mississippi has created a dilemma for businesses. Some sources believe that it's important to keep safety rules in place to protect against COVID-19 spread, while others are debating whether to follow the two states' decisions to loosen restrictions. Leading U.S. grocery chains, pharmacies, retailers, and auto manufacturers, including Target, Kroger, CVS, Walgreens, Best Buy, Macy's, JCPenney, Toyota, GM, and others, say they will continue to require mask wearing at their restaurants and stores and facilities by both employees and the customers. There are exceptions, though, however, and some business advocates are concerned that the end of these states' mask mandates will create new challenges for companies and their workers. Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves both announced Tuesday that their states will lift mask requirements that have been in place for months to protect against COVID-19. The announcements come as COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations continue to drop across the country and more Americans get vaccinated. However, health experts say relaxing restrictions could lead to another surge, especially with those other variants that are spreading. So you guys know that we talk about Texas a lot, but there are actually a lot of other states that don't have mask mandates as well. But I want to just take a look at Representative Mike Loychik. He's a conservative representative from Ohio. He tweeted today, he said, mask mandates are unconstitutional. The government has no authority to tell you what to wear. Repealing Ohio's mask mandate is essential to restoring basic personal freedoms. And I just don't understand how there are people, we talk about this all the time. Brooke said it the other day, a mask costs you nothing. Like, you can make a mask out of a piece of fabric. I don't understand what the big fuss is about wearing a mask. They save lives. It's proven.
It's not like it's a girdle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that serious. And the reality of the situation is we all know what's going to happen. You know, there's going to be an increase in violent incidences that are going to happen because people are going to go into stores like Target and Walmart, and there's going to be people that are really defiant and they're not going to wear masks, and it's going to that's just what's going to happen. There's going to be an increase in violent incidences in public places because of this.
And yeah, to both of your points, like, you know, talking about some of the challenges that employees are now going to face, because you think about the challenges they've already faced when it was the law. It was, you know what I mean? That your elected officials were saying, this is what you have to do. And so now in these two states specifically, your elected officials are saying you don't have to do this. But hey, listen to what the private companies say. Okay, that's absolutely going to happen. And what I'm so afraid of, you know, if you tack on absolutely some of those challenges, which are going to include an increase in violence. How about the disproportionate number of Black and brown workers who are going to get sick? Because now they are already living in a world, in an environment where they are disproportionately at a higher risk of getting sick. We are also disproportionately more likely to be essential workers, more likely to be retail workers in some of these states, right? In both of these states. And so now those workers are going to be at a higher risk of getting sick because of the higher possibility of people coming in and saying, sorry, my governor said this.
And have an added responsibility to their job because they're going to try and tell you as a customer that you can't come in without the mask. So they got to take backlash on that. I mean, not a good situation. If you think about the 4 states that had the highest numbers, New York, Florida, of course, California, and Texas. But yet Texas still wants to do this. Friends of Trump, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
A mess.
All right, let's go to Florida now, where some Disney World workers say they have experienced harassment, been spit on, and subject to degrading comments for enforcing COVID-19 safety guidelines. Orlando Sun-Sentinel reporters say Orange County Sheriff's reports show the challenges employees from Disney theme parks, hotel, and Disney Springs have all dealt with from guests who were simply asked to keep their mask on and social distance. In one instance, a man who was staying at one of Disney's hotels spat on a security guard after he was asked to put a mask on. The man was never identified or charged. Service workers across the country have reported angry outbursts from customers who refuse to comply with state mandates or business rules that require masks and social distancing. Here in California, Disneyland will be able to reopen on April 1st. So this goes back to what, you know, we saw before, what we were just talking about in other states. Look at what people are dealing with by just trying to go in and do their jobs. I don't know how many times I've been out at the grocery store or somewhere else, and there are some places make it really easy for you. Some places provide masks, free ones for you, and then they have big circles or marks on the floor, and people don't stand on them.
They don't.
I don't understand that. It's making it easy for you
There's been
to
several
social
times.
distance.
Yeah, but I've been in line where I'm just like, excuse me, like there's a
Back up
place
off me.
Could you get behind my neck? All on the phone, got your mask pulled down.
People get combative.
Yeah.
Listen, if you tell me to step away from you, no problem.
Right.
Yeah, but
I
then
don't
some people take
understand that.
offense to that.
Yes.
So damn if I do, damn if I don't in this situation. But at the end of the day, I feel sorry for those that are working at the amusement parks because we already know Taste of Universal Studios here in California is going to open back up. It's just for restaurants, but that means they're gearing up to do what Disneyland is doing. They're going to open the theme park. People want to open back up. People want to get back to work, but at what cost? That's what you got to ask yourself.
Isn't Disney World supposed to be one of the happiest places on earth? I don't know if it's Disneyland, Disney World. I don't understand, but I can't understand how something like this can happen. Definitely goes back into what we're just talking about in the last 2 stories. You have half of the world that makes you wear a mask, half of the world not make you wear a mask, and then you have companies like Disney World who is like, you're not going to sue me because there was a COVID-19 outbreak on the Batman ride, and you want to sue me because this happened. No, we're going to make sure you have to wear your mask, make sure it's socially distant, and I feel like those people that don't want to abide by the rules, you shouldn't be out. You know, like if you go to Disneyland, they want you to wear a mask. Wear the mask. If not, stay home. It's simple.
Before we move on, I just want to ask our soulmates at home. Tell us if you have ever had to ask someone to follow COVID-19 precautions, right? Tell us in the comments and tell us what happened when you did that. Just when you were out and about, if you had to tell someone to back up or, pull your mask over your nose, any of those things.
Demi, get ready for those.